More detail in just a moment, but first we look back at the events of the last few months which have led up to tonight.
August 9th, just after noon, Mike Brown was walking in the middle of West Florissant Avenue when Officer Darren Wilson approached Brown and his friend. Moments later, Wilson would end up shooting the 18-year-old just outside the Canfield apartments. Tensions rose as Brown's body lay in the street for hours.
We would come to learn the Ferguson Police Department was waiting on assistance from St. Louis County Police and the coroner. County officers had spent the day in South County dealing with a gunman inside St. Anthony's Hospital.
An armed intruder, armed with a handgun. He was also wearing a ski mask.
Meanwhile, back in Ferguson, hundreds gathered along the streets of Canfield throughout the evening and into Sunday, all while tensions mounted. The next day, police hold a press conference and announced Brown attacked Wilson before he was fatally shot.
Within the police car, there was a struggle over the officer's weapon. There was at least one shot fired within the car.
That night, a peaceful vigil turned violent, followed by violent night after violent night.
Don't be a traitor to Michael Brown in the name of you, man.
By August 11th, national civil rights leaders, including the Reverend Al Sharpton, were in town to meet with Brown's family.
It was Thursday, August 14th, when President Obama addressed the nation on the events in Ferguson.
There is never an excuse for violence against police or for those who would use this tragedy as a cover for vandalism or looting. There's also no excuse for police to use excessive force against peaceful protests.
No justice, no peace.
Meanwhile, the protests continue. Governor Nixon announces a change to the security detail. Captain Ron Johnson of the Highway Patrol is now the man in charge.
I plan on tonight myself walking to the quick trip that has been called Ground Zero and meeting with the folks there myself tonight. And so we are going to have a different approach and have the approach that we're in this together.
But the following day, August 15th, tensions rise again. Ferguson police released the name of Officer Wilson, but not before also releasing the images of Mike Brown involved in a robbery just minutes before the shooting.
It pissed them off. It pissed them off, and for one reason it did, because it muddied the water.
On Saturday, August 16th, Governor Nixon declares a state of emergency. The National Guard arrives Monday. Tensions mount again as St. Louis police shoot and kill a man armed with a knife just a few miles from Ferguson.
He got his gun out.
Almost a week after the president's national address on Ferguson, U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder arrives in St. Louis. He's briefed on the federal investigations in the shooting of Mike Brown.
And if we get community involved, we can turn it around, allow people to, express themselves, as that's what we do in the United States.
Tensions and protests start to ease before Brown is laid to rest on Monday, August 25th.
This is about justice. This is about fairness.
Since Michael Brown's funeral, we've seen protests inside St. Louis County government.
If Darren Wilson get off this case, y'all better bring out every army in the city, because it's going down.
Angry mobs gathering in the Shaw neighborhood after an off-duty St. Louis officer shot and killed an armed teenager.
What you doing here, bro? Get the f*** out of here, man, with your coward boys. With your coward terrorists. Get the f*** out of here.
And continued calls for a decision from the grand jury.
This is different. This is being handled differently than most cases,
which for the past months have only been hearing evidence on this case.